You must tell me all your secrets. Remember, we must share everything together. Everything.
Well, hello again, listeners, and Girls, Guts, and Giallo is back, and Lucé Tomlin-Brenner is back, my favorite guest.
Hello, thank you so much for having me again. This is my favorite place to be.
I am so happy you're back, and I am excited to talk about Ghost World today. This is like not a kind of movie that I usually cover on the podcast, but this is a film that is super important to both of us, and it's not like traditionally transgressive or subversive, but I would make an argument that it is because it for various reasons, which we're going to get into. But
it has to do with subcultures.
Yes,
and like
subculture,
outsiders.
counterculture. Yeah, and unlikable characters, which is controversial these days.
Especially young women.
Yes, especially young women. So before we get into it, Lucé, you've been on the pod many times, but can you tell the listeners again who you are and what you do?
My pleasure. I'm Luce. I'm a comedian and I host the Around Halloween History podcast, It's Always Halloween. And I run the Los Angeles-based video rental store Videotech, where I also program movies and act as a moderator and a Q&A panelist with special guests and filmmakers that we have there. I also moderate film stuff around the city like you. And I am a lifelong cinephile and a lifelong video store clerk. I have been working at video stores pretty much since this movie came out for like the last 25 years since I was in high school.
I love that fact about you. Can you tell everybody, like I said before we started recording, I'm trying to get people to plug their stuff at the top of the show so people are still paying attention.
Yes.
Can you tell people where to find you on social media and also plug anything that you've got in the works?
Absolutely. Well, you can find everything that I do on my Instagram. That's where I post the most, and that's LTB Comedy. And I also host a monthly stand-up show at Videotech called Video Visions. That's a blend of comedy and film. I surprise 6 comedians with film clips. They don't know what they're going to be, and then they have to create a stand-up set on the spot inspired by those films. Every month we have a different theme. January's theme is expressionism. So we'll do it's a mix of traditional like German expressionist films from the 20s and 30s. And then also we have some clips of like neo-expressionist stuff that was inspired by that era, or filmmakers whose careers are very dominated by that type of style. Past ones, a year ago, we did a whole David Lynch themed one, which was really fun. We have done, I've done erotic thrillers. We've done camp styled films. We've done queer female filmmakers. Like, we go really broad sometimes, then we niche down, but it's really fun because all the movies are from the store and it connects people, to, I feel like it's like a low stakes like film school because people get to have a good time and laugh, but then also learn about films they haven't seen before. So I have a Video Visions Instagram as well. One for It's Always Halloween at It's Always Halloween podcast. And I'm also on Letterboxd at Cha Cha Heels, where I sometimes do critical reviews and sometimes I talk about how the film's playing at the store, because I usually watch like 3 to 4 movies at the store when I'm there. And I like to do little like anecdotes about like what happens when I have certain movies on, because customers love to tell me what they think when I don't ask for their opinions. So I share a lot of gossip there. And then occasionally I'll write a a personal essay that gets inspired by something that comes up in me while I'm watching movies. So you can find all of that at Cha-Cha Heels, Female Trouble reference.
The
On
best
Letterboxd.
username.
Yeah. And I have a Patreon as well. That is It's Always Halloween podcast where I do like spooky movie nights. We have a book club of all like horror books. I do like recipe, like cook weird, like weird menu items along with me. I have bonus episodes and tons of like essays and stuff that I've written that are related to like not all Halloween, but anything in like the creepy family, urban legends, like personal experiences, ghosts, stuff like that.
Yes, Lucé works so hard. So check out
Thanks.
all of that. She's brilliant. Love
I'm also an
everything you
improv
do.
teacher. If anybody out in the LA area is trying to learn long form improv, you can also hit me up for that.
Yay.
Yeah, and I do improv and sketch and stand up all over Los Angeles and beyond.
Hardest working bitch in the biz.
Thank you, baby.
So, Lucé, do you remember when the first time you saw this movie was? And
I
what
know it was
you
in high
felt
school.
about it?
Yeah, I know it was like shortly after it came out. Like the characters are a few years older than me. So like they're sort of, I don't know, I guess maybe they're probably like Gen X millennial cuspers, and I'm definitely elder millennial as well. So, and I was in the punk and I don't know, underground art sort of subculture, starting in high school and through college. And so a lot of my friends were older than me. And this was like, I saw myself for the first time in film through seeing this movie. And I got really into indie film through my parents, who are both teachers, but like huge cinephiles, just like personally very enthusiastic about film. And the local video store that I ended up working at all through college, my parents started taking me to, this is like my earliest memory is like running around a video store. And my parents liked watching weird stuff. So they kind of taught me how to like look for stuff at the rental store that had the like laurels, you know? And so I'd be like, anytime there's like laurels on the box, I was like, oh, this would be interesting. And that's pretty much like how I found Ghost World, is I was like, 2 girls on the box. Okay, awesome. There's hardly any movies about women in the 2000s or ever until that point. They've only been making movies about women for like the last like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. Like I watched it for the first time in high school, and I chose it because it had 2 cute girls on the cover.
Yep.
And when
I was like, that looks like
watched
me
it-
and my friends.
Exactly. And I was already like into counterculture and punk and goth and all of that. And then I watched it and I was like, oh my God, like this is me. And it was just a really formative, personal film. And Lucé and I, we really hate poser violence. And I feel like we're going to talk about that a lot while we're talking about this film, because this is a conversation we have a lot about how things used to mean things, like wearing certain bands or like having tattoos or like, you know,
dressing like a weirdo, like wearing
dressing like
vintage
a weirdo
clothes.
used to mean something.
Yeah,
It
that you
used
were
to mean
interesting,
that you were
not just that you had
cool. Yeah.
money. It actually meant the
Right.
opposite. If you were wearing old clothes from Goodwill, it meant you didn't have money. But now you need to like, I don't know, have at least $35 to get a vintage dress.
Right.
Which
And,
is
like,
crazy.
yeah, and I also, you know, can be self-critical. Like, I think that this movie is, you know, I'm a suburban middle-class white kid who, like, is, you know, typical, you know, railing against the system, like, but, you know, being a suburban middle-class white kid. And I think that's also part of this film. Like, it's not completely uncritical of these characters or anything like that, but when I watched it at the time, I wasn't myself critical of it. I just felt I really related to them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's like a way that the characters see the world because the men behind these characters see the world that way. That was and is very comforting to me because as a young person, I had that like feeling that I was insane because nobody was clicking in with me about how stupid everybody was and how disingenuous everyone was. And like, I didn't understand why we had to listen to these adults who were like clearly much dumber than I was. And like,
Oh, I felt the same way. I was like, these people are insane.
yeah.
And
then like,
I'm supposed to follow them. Like, they don't know what they're
Right.
talking about.
no, and I was very anti-authoritarian and very like
Same.
yeah, like what is it? Contrarian and like if you're gonna tell me
Oppositional defiance disorder.
Yes, yeah, like if you're gonna tell me to do this in a way that I don't like your tone, I'm just not gonna do it. Like there's never been I don't know, I've never felt compelled to do anything that I didn't want to do. Which is turns out to be a great trait in fighting fascism, and really underscores how little other people feel that way and how much people love to bootlick. But I remember seeing this movie and being like, oh my God, they get it. They do understand that everybody's full of shit. And until I saw this movie, I didn't feel like I had that anybody else was saying that other than like my other like defiant friends that I was in drama club with.
No, I felt the same way. Like, I thought everybody was fucking stupid. And I, watched this film with these two characters who think everybody's stupid. And I felt, I was like, oh, there are other people like me out there. And I just have to find them. And it gave me, a sense of, I mean, also just, everything about it, the way that the narrative progresses, the ending, like it really touched me, and it became one of my favorite films. And it's not a film I often talk about as being one of my favorite films, just because it's like not in my milieu. It's like not part of my brand, quote unquote. So I like
There's
don't
no
talk about it.
vampires in it.
Yeah, I'm not like on social media being like Ghost World. Also, like everybody at this point who is into counterculture has like seen this movie. So it's like, yes, of course we love Ghost World, but I'm just excited to talk about it because
I'm really
I
excited
never
to talk about it with
get
you.
to talk about this movie. Yeah. So
And we're both kids, so I'm like
exactly. I mean, and also there, Enid and Rebecca, Daria and Jane, like these are touchstones of counterculture, contrarian girlhood, suburban girlhood.
absolutely.
And they are very important to me. And I'm getting a Daria tattoo soon.
Cute.
Yeah, my tattoo artist, one of my tattoo artists in LA is still, kind of she's been tattooing for like a year and a half, so she has been offering me like free work to just sort of experiment on me. So
oh my God, I love.
I'm getting a Daria and Jane tattoo. So
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like Daria and Jane as tattoo. So I am very excited about that. Anyway.
Brilliant.
So I didn't do, like I was telling you before we recorded, I didn't do like a ton of research about this movie. This is going to be like, dare I say, vibes, feelings based discussion more so. But just, basics. This movie is from 2001. It was directed by Terry Zwigoff and based on a graphic novel by Daniel Klaus. Great graphic. I love the graphic novel too.
I love the graphic novel. I love all of his
so
work.
good.
His drawing style is very satisfying to look at for me.
Yeah, totally. And starring Thora Birch and Scarlett Johansson. Babies.
In like her first role. This was like her breakout role, right? And she's 15 in it.
Right. And it's also starring Steve Buscemi. And we've got great performances from
Ileana Douglas. I know, I love her.
and
Bob Balaban.
Brad Renfro, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Terry Garr in a small
Right.
role.
Yeah. So really a time capsule
Mm-hmm.
of the early 2000s.
Yeah, and like indie actors. I mean, this was like stacked full of like the best indie character actors.
Oh my God, we're going to talk about her, but I fucking love Ileana Douglas.
She's the best.
She's so good at this.
She's so great.
I forgot because I watched this movie when you put it on at the store.
Oh
but
yeah, this is like my comfort movie at the store. If I have to open, I put it on first thing to set the vibe. If I close, I usually end up putting it on before I close because I'm like a nervous wreck after a day of insane customers. So it like fixes my nervous system.
And but I haven't like sat down to watch it in a while, and I was cracking up. Like I forgot how genuinely hilarious this movie is. So let's just start. Let's get into it. So Lucé, I have to credit you. You have the notes. You took the notes for this episode because you just talked about this movie on another podcast, and I'm a lazy bitch. So I capitalized on that and was like, oh, you just took notes for this. And I need an episode for this month, so let's do it. So
I was excited about it because it was like a different kind of style podcast. And now I get to talk even more in depth than the way that you and I, it's one thing to talk about it in a more professional way with people you don't know as well. But like when you were like, oh, we could do it for Girls, Guts, and Jello, I was so excited to talk to my best friend about it since it's a movie about friendship and outsiders, and like to emotionally connect with you is like a different experience than I've had when I've talked about it on other podcasts. So I'm excited for like the extra layer of depth that connection can like bring out for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of why I was like, well, this isn't like what I typically cover, but I think that it'll be good to talk about because we have such an emotional connection to it. So we start with this Indian rock dance routine, and we've got this non-diegetic soundtrack. We've got this glimpse into these regular suburban homes. And Lucé, you said in your notes this was like a very 90s indie way to show real people.
Yes, I think that now we see there's been so much realism like post 9/11. And even though this is like a 2001 movie, it was made before 9/11, and it feels very 90s to me still, where like realism was like not very common. And so to be like, yeah, look, people are kind of like ugly and fat and they're eating a TV dinner and they don't look good. Like this was very like indie movie. I feel like to be like, look at these real people. Actually, everybody is not like stick thin supermodels when they live in Anywhere USA, like mainstream movies will have you believe. And so I feel like this moment where the camera is moving window to window in this Anywhere USA apartment complex, it's like, here's people just watching TV looking kind of normal and kind of ugly compared to like what movies, how people typically look glamorized. And yeah, this music is playing in the background as sort of like I don't know, it has like a soundtrack dissonance to it because the music is like and it's like really upbeat and fun and dancey, and it's just people who have like the flattest expression. They don't look like they're having fun. It's this like art is fun, the world can be fun, but these people are just living the most boring lives in front of their TVs, eating their stupid dinners, not paying attention to each other. It almost has like there's a lot of like disaffection towards suburbia, obviously, in this movie, but it's really setting the scene right here of being like, this isn't like a regular movie. The world is sort of like ugly and disappointing, and that's where we're getting started.
By the time I hit my 50s, I'd learned a few things, like how family is precious. Work can always wait. And 99% of people over 50 already have the virus that causes shingles. Not everyone at risk will develop it, but I did. The painful, blistering rash disrupted my life for weeks. Don't learn about your shingles risk the hard way. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today. Sponsored by GSK.
Yeah, and then it reveals that it's Thora Birch dancing to this weird video, and she's in her graduation gown, and this song is called John Pan Janho, and the song first entered American popular culture when the Cramps appeared on the LA TV show Request Video in the early 90s, and they aired a clip from this video during their appearance on the show.
Of course,
So,
it was the Cramps, who's like
of
one of my favorite
course.
bands. So to like have that connection to it is just delicious. They put out this like set of like there's this like I don't know how to series of CDs that are all made up of Lux and Ivy's like favorite lost singles, and it's a lot of music like this, like just weirdo outsider music, international music, all rock and roll stuff from like the 60s and 70s, and it's all stuff I've never heard of before. It's not like, oh yeah, these are kind of rare. It's like legitimately rare stuff from like their own personal collection.
Fucking love that.
Yeah, I recommend as a side thing. Like if I did not know that there's a Cramps connection, and it's just all clicking into place, and I just love that. That makes me feel even more connected to this movie.
Yeah, and what do you think, Lucé, that Enid dancing and watching this video, like, what does this say about her character immediately?
Yes. As you said, like, we're putting like our quotes around weird, right? Because it's like we don't necessarily think that like South Asian rock and roll videos are weird on their face, but it is the kind of thing that like in the late 90s, early 2000s, before you could just open your phone and see clips of different things from all over the world, it was like
you had to go out of your way.
You had to go out of your way, and you also just didn't know. You would see things, clips of things like this, and then never see it again, and then not even really be sure that you saw it. There's so much stuff I watched growing up that I don't know if it was a dream or if that was my experience. And this routine is kind of used in that way to be like, she's not watching MTV. This isn't a regular girl. This is a cool girl. Like, she's in her graduation gown. She has blunt black hair, big black chunky glasses. Again, this is before, the Green
Everybody
album.
looked like that.
Yeah, it's before the Green album comes out. This look has not been popularized, by Rivers Cuomo yet in a large scale. She's wearing black combat boots. She does not look traditionally feminine, despite the fact that, of course, Thora Birch is very pretty, and this is a look now that is prized, right? Like this almost like retro, like hot goth girl aesthetic is so big on the internet, but would not fly in like flyover high schools. And the fact that when the music switches from like non-diegetic to diegetic, and you see that she's like dancing to this, it's like, what high school kid finds this and like this is what they're dancing to, right? Like 2001, we are firmly in the Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, NSYNC time period. Like this is like Bye 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 is popular, and that's not who Enid is. You wouldn't even know that kind of music exists when you like glance into her room. It's not only is she not into what's current, but she's not even into what anyone's ever heard of before. So she's special.
Yeah, and this is a Daniel Klaus love letter to weird girls, to the kind of girls he was attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it has sort of been wrongly painted as like maybe manic pixie dream girl-esque, and I don't think that that's what it is at all. She's a full person. She's a full character.
Exactly.
It's not Manic Pixie Dream Girl. It's his love letter to weird art girls.
Yeah, and every girl that's weird isn't a caricature either. Weird girls exist. And the fact that she's not manic. Like manic, it's the implication of like zippy, upbeat attitude. It's Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman in Garden State, yeah.
You know, like that.
No, Enid is like flat affect.
Yeah. And and she's not a pixie either. She's a bigger girl with giant tits that she's like either trying to hide or accentuate depending on like what she's trying to get across. She has different outfits, different moods. She fights with people. No, she's like that's why we like this movie is that.
Yeah, because she's a real person.
She's a real person. Yeah, there's not, it's interesting because that is, Manic Pixie Dream Girls, of course, I'm sure you could do a deep dive into cinema throughout history and find examples of them, but they are a cultural phenomenon of the mid-2000s.
Right.
Like Ghost World, again, like I said, despite being released in 2001, this is like a movie that's very firmly made with the sensibilities of 90s American indie filmmaking. Like, you know, it's on the heels of Zweigoff's Our Crumb documentary and Danny Close being a part of like 80s and 90s like comic subculture. Like the movie is very much early 90s coded, you know, like Manic Pixie Dream Girl is about when like American indies became more mainstream and actually bigger budget stuff like focus features, like that type of stuff, not truly independent. Does that make sense? Am I being too pedantic about it?
No, I think you're being specific in the way that someone who loves this topic is specific. In the early 2000s, the way that men would always hit on me would be like, "Oh, you're like Dora Birch and Ghost World."
Oh, that's so funny.
Because I had like short black hair and sometimes would wear glasses, and I had and have giant tits. So that was
did you ever do like
card.
Vintage clothes? I know you've always been very goth, so I don't know if you had that like vintage dress period.
Oh, I wore vintage clothes pretty much exclusively in high school, and then also like Search and Destroy and Hot Topic.
Yeah.
But I don't wear vintage now because I'm too fat. Like it doesn't fit. That's why I don't wear vintage now. But I still love vintage. I just can't. It's not accessible to me. But even at the time, I was edging out of it. But I was 16, so I was thinner. But yeah, now I can't. Now I can't wear vintage. So we're at graduation, and we've got these vacant faces of all these other grads. We've got this terrible valedictorian speech. We've got a sign over the graduation that says it's sponsored by Dunkin' and Hostess.
It's so perfect. Never comes up again, but it's just one of those like little winks. There's a lot of satirical stuff about selling out in this movie, from education to music to art to all levels of education, college.
There's a Gen X sensibility here because Gen X was obsessed with this idea of selling out in a way that millennials and Gen Z are not. Millennials and Gen This is why I'm always like, I'm spiritually Gen X.
Same.
But millennials and Gen Z are always like, they try to radicalize selling out. They're like, you have to do what you have to do to make money. And it's like, okay, just admit that you sold out. But
they're like, we have to. Capitalism's making us.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, very Gen X sensibility here. So the valedictorian is this girl in like a neck. I don't know what that's called.
Halo?
But yeah,
from like breaking her neck. It's like what Regina George wears in Mean Girls at the end.
Yes. And she delivers this very flat graduation speech, and it's like supposed to be heartwarming, and she talks about like how she is, becomes sober, and she had this sober journey, and
Yeah, because she like got in a horrible car accident where she like maimed herself and another girl.
yes, and
We don't know if
it's
she's the valedictorian. I wonder if she's just got picked to be the inspirational speaker.
that's a good point. I don't know. I just assumed it was a valedictorian, but
Yeah, but I do think there's also something to like, oh, we should have Maddie or whatever do it because she had that horrible accident and she survived and she's a survivor,
that makes sense. Yeah, and she's like, above all, a sense of humor, in this like very flat, non-humorous speech.
Yeah.
And then there's also the terrible rap group that comes on and performs, the like white rappers.
Yeah, all in like neon like tearaway pants.
And this is a theme that I think is never spoken about in this movie, which is like they address race, but there are no POC characters.
Mhm.
So there's like white people rapping, there's white people doing bluegrass,
Mhm.
and it's definitely satire. And there's also the whole thing that we're going to talk about with Cook's Chicken.
Mhm.
So there is like an awareness of
Like
racial disparity
and white appropriation.
and white appropriation with no POC characters. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because I think it actually speaks to
Suburbia, like what it looks like.
yeah, and what it and the way that white people appropriate things, and also the way that white hipsters, white intellectuals kind of like try to be in the know and engaged about it, but often fail.
Well, and how they don't have to be engaged with it, right? There's a lot of like, this is interesting. I like thinking about this, but it's a thought exercise for a lot of the characters because they can easily step away from it because it doesn't affect them directly.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
I think is very valuable to engage with.
Well, like I said, the movie is a love letter to people like this, but it's also critical of them. So Enid
Enid's like rolling her eyes. It's like got this great close up of her, and she's like disgusted because like the rap group all has like wedgies.
And she says, after the graduation, she says to her best friend, Rebecca, played by Scarlett Johansson, I liked her so much better when she was an alcoholic crack addict.
Which I completely relate to, because it's like...
that's something I would say.
Well, and it's authentic. Like, when she was like that, she was saying what she wanted to say and acting how she wanted to act. And then nothing that she said on stage was authentic. Like, it was extremely disingenuous. And so much so that, like, when she says, I've learned that what you need above all else is a sense of humor, and nothing she says is funny, it's like, give me a break. Like, of course you're going to like somebody better, when they're actually being themselves.
No, for real. And Enid fails. She finds out that she fails art class and she needs to finish it this summer to graduate. So at the graduation party, Todd, this character Todd, is openly flirting with Rebecca and ignores Enid. And I feel like this would be a good time to talk about how Enid and Rebecca look aesthetically, and how they're different, and what this says about their characters. So Enid, like Lucé said, is more alternative. She's got this black bob, these glasses, and she wears vintage clothes. And she's also, for the 2000s, thick.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So,
I wasn't saying that earlier to imply I actually think she's thick, but like that is what the movie is trying to show.
Yes, exactly. I mean, she's got a fat ass and fat tits.
Yeah. And she wears a lot of fun makeup too. She's not wearing beauty enhancing makeup. She's wearing stuff that matches her outfits. Green lipstick, purple lipstick, dark lip liner. Again, stuff that now, everything about her now would fucking crush. But
she would blow up on TikTok.
But like was what people thought was ugly 25 years ago.
And Rebecca is blonde, and
natural face, maybe just like a hint of lip gloss.
Yeah, and she's
She
got
also
more of
she also dresses in vintage clothes, but more like
yes,
Zooey Deschanel cutesy
yes,
baby
more
doll.
ironically preppy.
Yes.
Um, and oh, we are gonna talk about that. I mean, just the way that like that alternative men prefer that over like girls who look more like them or dress
Yep.
more like them. Like they want to be the cool one.
Yeah, the
Um,
greatest. God, yeah, my greatest grudge against all alt men.
yeah, absolutely. So this theater girl, the kid girl, Melora, is super fake to them, and they make fun of her about it. And she'll come up later. And we're just seeing that Rebecca and Enid are very much like outsiders and
Mhm.
very much like they don't fuck with these people.
Yeah, they
And
don't go along to get along. They see through everyone's bullshit. Like they're not going to meet people where they're at to make them feel socially comfortable, and that makes everybody feel a little awkward in front of them.
there's this one part where they see this guy, one of their classmates, flirting with a female classmate, and Enid says he better watch out or he'll get AIDS when he date rapes her.
That is one of my favorite. That is one of the funniest lines, and I think about it all the time. I'll see certain people together, and that will enter my mind.
So fucking funny. And it made me think about how this kind of Gen X humor would just not hold up today. And I still find
Yeah, I
it
still think
funny.
it's like really funny.
Yeah.
Well, because
And
it's people. It gets aimed at people who are shitty, you know.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, that guy's a piece of shit, and like she's
that guy's a date
slut.
rapist.
Yeah.
And this is when we see like our kind of first glimpse that Enid is experiencing the transition out of high school differently than Rebecca, because Rebecca says, "We'll never see Dennis again," and Enid says, "Good."
Oh no, the other way
Which is-
around. The other way
Oh,
around.
okay.
Enid says we'll never see Dennis again. And it's
Okay.
again, they're picturing like a guy who's like a little sloppy, a little overweight, he has a bad haircut, he's eating cake messily. So I think the movie is being like, here's another outsider, but he's clearly a nerd.
Right.
And then Rebecca or Enid's like, God, we'll never see Dennis again. And Scarlett Johansson is like, good. And she's sort of looking off to the side, and Enid is like staring down Dennis, having this emotional moment. And the camera starts bisecting them, right? Because it's like a two shot. And Rebecca starts looking away, and the camera starts zooming in on Enid's face as she's having an emotional reaction. She's like, no, really, think about that. It's actually totally depressing. And this is like our first glimpse that Enid and Rebecca feel differently. And we don't totally know what's going to happen yet with that. But right now, it's like, oh, there's a different experience. Like Enid is starting to have a little bit of nostalgia, and Rebecca's looking forward. She's ready to get the fuck out of there.
Breakfast with Dad. Enid's dad is the worst.
Played by
He's
Bob
just
Balaban.
great. He's great in this role, but he's just so ineffective,
Mm-hmm.
out of touch with
Spineless.
his daughter, spineless, and
Doesn't know how to connect to her, and she is not giving him anything. Like, not
no,
helping.
and he's talking about getting back together with an ex who Enid hates, Maxine. Absence of the mother. Enid does not have a mother present in her life. Let's talk about it.
We never hear about why. Do you like, she
Yeah.
could be dead, there could have been a divorce, she could have ran out on them. But there's not even like a mention about really missing the mom, despite the fact that you really feel Enid's need for a adult that she can depend on and like look up to. It's giving dead mother to me, but what do you
It's giving
think?
dead mother.
Yeah.
I think it's giving dead mother, and it also, dare I say, sets the stage for daddy issues.
Mhm.
And I think it says a lot about Enid's character, that, like you said, that she doesn't have this person that she can go to,
Mhm.
which is for many young girls our mother.
Mhm.
And that she's unmoored in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at the Quality Cafe, and this is the first time we see Enid sketching, and she's good at it. And her book is drawn by the artist Sophie Crumb. Is that any relation to R. Crumb, Lucy?
Yeah, that's his daughter.
Okay, all right, great.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, it's like a fun connection to Terry Zweigoff's documentary.
Terry Zweigoff it was very good friends with R. Crumb.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, everything drawn in that notebook is by Sophie Crumb, and you can see like R. Crumb's influence in her work as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think it's really interesting that it's like, this is your first indication that Enid actually loves art and that she's good at it. And so the fact that she failed art is really interesting. We're getting another layer to this oppositional defiant person, right? Like, why does she fail art class?
Yeah, exactly. Why does she fail art class? Because it's a joke, and we're going to see why.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking at this weird couple, and Enid is like, I'm totally convinced they're Satanists. She's just got this fascination with weirdos, and she loves
storytelling.
And she loves to pursue the narratives and the inner lives of weird people. And Rebecca wants to start looking for an apartment. Enid is dragging her feet on it.
Yeah, they're not going to college, right? That's their thing. They don't want to go to college. They want to get jobs and get an apartment together. And Rebecca is very committed. She's ready. Graduation is over. And Enid's like wanting to do what they've always done, which is hang out and make up stories and follow the next weird thing.
We meet Pat Healy as this anti-Semitic comic book guy. And these are the kind of...
Oh my God, the store name
Xenophobia. And
so
yeah, these are the kinds of guys you have to put up with in counterculture. This was every guy who wanted me in high school. They were mean to me and anti-Semitic, but obviously wanted to have sex with me. And I had several disgusting punk boyfriends in high school who were always like, oh, my little beautiful, like exoticizing me, like my little beautiful Jewess.
God.
Yeah, totally.
Which is exactly what he says to like Rebecca, right? If it isn't what does he say? The Jewish girl and her Aryan friend.
Yeah.
The little Jewish girl and her Aryan friend.
Yes, and he's obsessed, but he so clearly wants her, in my opinion. So we find out that he gave her the Indian dance routine tape. So they have this like contentious relationship.
Yeah, we're like, Thora Birch wants weird stuff, and he has like odd tapes, and like she pays for them, and he gets her strange stuff to watch, which is an awesome time. I have a lot of nostalgia for like, oh, I found this tape at Goodwill. What's on it? Which, like, of course you can still do, but it's less common, and there is so much stuff that you can find online. It doesn't have the same desperation to it, which is really kind of an exciting feeling, But it did mean you had to interact with people like this all the time, which we may still be interacting with those people online. They can just hide it better. But like, yeah, in the counterculture in a small town, or maybe even, you grew up in a bigger area than I did, but your group of friends would be like a mix of, like, everyone would be a weirdo, but some people would be legitimate assholes, and you had to just be like, that's that guy, because there wasn't enough people to hang out with.
Well, I'm kind of I'm in the Seymour camp where later when he's like, people still hate each other, they just hide it.
Yes, I love that line.
Yeah,
you just get better at hiding it.
Maybe say things like this anymore, but it's more coded.
Well, now you have to find it out like after 6 months of hanging out together, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, totally. So they follow the Satanists, and they follow them to this like really cheesy 50s diner that the girls are roasting the shit out of. Wowsville. And they're going through the personal ads, and yeah, what happens next, Lucé? They're going through the personal ads.
And they're, again, you're seeing them in their like routine, right? Like you get the idea that this is what Enid and Rebecca have been doing their entire friendship together. They're childhood friends, and they just follow one weird thing to the next weird thing, and they're kind of up for anything. So Rebecca's playing with the salt shaker and making designs in salt, and Enid is going through the personal ads, and they're reading different ads and they're laughing, and my friends and I did this too. And then they read one that is from who we find out is Steve Buscemi's character Seymour, saying that you helped me find my contact at the airport. You were wearing like a striking green dress and I was in a green cardigan, and I felt like we had a moment, like let's try to reconnect. You know, it's essentially like missed connections on Craigslist, but he took out an ad. You are a striking blonde. And Rebecca's like, oh, we totally have to call and pretend to be the blonde. And Thora Birch's character, Enid, is like, yeah, we have to do that. And they get like excited to go home and do that, right? Like this is how their days are being filled. And as the movie goes on, you see that like really this is all Enid wants to do. Like she loves this life and she's not ready for it to end. So do we want to get into, they do it. They make this weird call. They leave a message. She's does a little character voice. Enid does on the phone and leaves a message to say, oh, I would love to meet you. Please come to my favorite restaurant, Wowsville, in the Century Parkway strip mall. And they're like, great, we just found this new restaurant. It's really funny. Let's make this guy come to Wowsville.
Yeah, and they're at I think it's Enid's house. And
I think they're at Rebecca's house because
Okay,
Enid's looking like at a photo album that's Enid's childhood photo album, and she's like, why do you have this?
Oh, that's right. And they're looking at photos of them as kids, and there's like photos of Maxine, who's Enid's dad's ex-girlfriend, and Enid is like, oh, fucking, she's evil. And there's also this like really weird comedian on TV who is his like anti-comedy. It's like very Andy Kaufman-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And Rebecca, talks about how she wants to fuck him.
I want to make love to him.
Yeah.
Rebecca one of the things I also love about these girls is they're really horny and they make jokes about sex a lot, and it's not to anybody else. It's like just to each other. They talk about masturbating, and again, this is very new. Girls are not talking about this in films, or Samantha Jones is talking about it on Sex and the City on HBO, but like that's pretty much it,
Mm-hmm.
So it's very fun that it's like these are girls who like sex, who have had sex, who aren't virgins, but they're not dressed in the like Girls Gone Wild like trappings of like popular girls at that time who are seen as sexual, right? Like all this nostalgia that people have for Y2K right now, like it's not what Y2K era looked like to me. Like that's who the girls that I hated looked like, right? In the Juicy Couture and like the low-rise denim and the sparkly tank tops.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand why young people who didn't live through that are excited about it.
Them,
no, but like
it's not how it was.
It wasn't cool. Like the cool people who wear that stuff now wouldn't have liked that in 2000. Like
no,
it was the worst
the
people you knew dressed like that.
Right.
So like this is what actual cool people like looked like and acted like. And a lot of times, the girls who were being sexualized, it was the girls that looked like the Simple Life. Yeah. Not Nikki Hilton, Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. That look was the sexualized look, and it wasn't thought that like any other girls were having sex. So I say all this to say, I think that's a really cool aspect of these characters, that they're not sexualized, but they do clearly enjoy sex and their own pleasure.
Yeah. We didn't get the sexualization of the goth girl until the rise of Suicide Girls and porn stars like Joanna Angel and Sasha Grey.
Right, which is like 3 years away, still 3-4 years, mid 2000s.
Yeah. So they go to the Sidewinder, which
like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah. And Brad Renfro as Josh is working there, and this is their friend that they love to torture.
And I think he's like, what, a year or two older than them, right? Like, I got the impression that like he's been graduated, and that this is like his full-time job.
We meet this guy named Doug, who is just like a weird dude who's always shirtless.
Yeah, Brad Renfro. Josh says he's here more than I am. And he's like this redneck character who has like a mullet. Again, before it was stylish.
Right.
And
he's like, I'm hungry enough to chew the crotch out of a rag doll.
One of the greatest lines. It's so funny.
And the guy who manages the Sidewinder, owns it, is this Greek guy, and he's arguing with Doug, and he's like, we Greeks invented democracy, and he's like, you also invented homo.
The writing is so good, it's insane. And the Doug character is played by this character actor Dave Sheridan, who is actually in like a Scary Movie.
Oh yes,
he was in like a lot of Scary Movies, and he's gonna come. Oh no, he was in the first Scary Movie, and he's coming back for the new Scary Movie, and then he was in the Haunted House movies that the Wayans brothers also made. Like, they say they just love to mess with this guy, but they clearly are both crushing on him. Like, he seems like maybe the only other non-idiot that they know.
Well, that's the way they flirt, is by torturing him.
Teasing. Yeah, and they're like, please, you have to accompany us in case this guy freaks out on us. And he's like, this guy has every right to freak out. What you're doing is really fucked up. But, you know, because they're girls and they're cute, they're able to just go, please, please, please help us. And then he does take them to Wowsville, and they all sit at the restaurant waiting for Seymour to come.
Well, I also love that Enid and Rebecca sit in the back of the car while Josh chauffeurs them.
Oh, it's like exactly what my best friend and I used to do when we got guys to do that for us.
Yeah.
we're not hanging out with you. We're hanging out with each other, and you're hanging out with us.
Right. So they are at Wowsville, and there's a waiter that they think looks like Weird Al, and Rebecca wants to fuck the Weird Al guy, and Enid tortures her about it, and that's just the way that Enid shows affection.
Yes, and my friends and I are like that too, and they still are. All my college friends that we worked at the college radio station together, whenever I go back home, we're always fucking with each other like this. It's people aren't like that in LA. It's really hard to like fuck with people and not have them take it personally.
Yeah, I'm like that, but that's
yeah, we have that friendship where we're able to like tease each other, then like romance each other. It's just I don't know, it's not for the faint of heart. People can't handle it.
My love language
sensitive.
is roasting. Yeah, people are very sensitive. So now Seymour walks in, played by Steve Buscemi. He looks like a dork. And
he's
he
like
comes
bad
in,
posture, bad clothes.
Yeah. How old do you think he's supposed to be?
My guess was like 44, 45. What do you think?
Yeah, and he walks into that song playing "Fun, Fun, Fun" in the sun.
Yeah, 'cause you're the one. We're gonna have fun. We are gonna have, and it's like I get that song stuck in my head all the time. It's a made up song. All the music in the movie, except for some of the classical pieces, are made up. They're like written by Terry Zwigoff for the movie, which I think is just so fun, and it creates this sort of like uncanny unreality, like this is supposed to be the suburbs, but it's also sort of nowhere. It's really cool.
So we see Enid. They basically, they just watch him as he gets stood up, and Enid starts to feel hurt because she relates to this guy, and Rebecca doesn't care.
Yeah, again, we see this like feelings coming up in Enid's face, and the camera focusing on her face like it did when she was thinking about Dennis at the graduation party. And it's yet another moment telling us that things are about to change between them, and that their priorities and their thoughts and their emotions are hitting a fork in the road that never existed before.
They follow him home, and they're like, oh, this type of thing must happen to him all the time. They see him have like a Lucé coated road rage moment.
You start off as Enid, and if you're lucky, you live long enough to see yourself become Seymour.
And they see him have road rage and they're like, oh my God, he's insane.
No, but I'm like, I don't know, that other car cut him off. He had every right to scream.
That's just being an adult. Like you just start to lose it.
Yeah, because there's like little like things that humiliate you every day, and it like really starts to stack up.
So Enid is in her summer school art class with Ileana Douglas as the try-hard feminist art teacher, and she shows this video art piece that she made, which is like incoherent images with and like a baby doll and a cross and a toilet and just like a voiceover that's just going, mirror, father, mirror, me as hell.
Kraft mac and cheese is better than 90s hip-hop. We'll remind you of your childhood without making you feel incredibly old. Kraft mac and cheese. Best thing ever.
Is this what you would have made in school?
Absolutely. This is the kind of video art I made in grad school. And the end of the video has this hilarious like grant names. One of them is the Why Not Me project.
Which I'm like, that needs to be a real grant foundation.
And you said this is made by a real video artist?
Yeah, they found there was I don't remember if it was Terry or Danny. One of them was like really liked this woman's art and like reached out to her, and they're like, will you make like a fake like video art for this? So and I guess she talked about how it was hard to kind of do something that felt real but was also sort of bad, but and I think
Mirror,
that's such a cool
father, mirror.
I mean, I think that makes the movie so much more textured and layered. It's like it's making fun of a certain try-hard type of video art, but then it is made by a video artist. And I think if you're not into experimental film, it all sort of looks like that. But there is experimental film that has a lot of depth to it, even though it can seem very, opaque and like pointless or self-aggrandizing, you know? So I don't know. It's very layered. And I think a lot of the humor comes from when this scene opens up on them watching this film and then getting to see the artist played by the art teacher, Ileana Douglas, Roberta. We get to see like Roberta talk about it. That's where you get a little bit more of that feeling that it's disingenuous.
When she's like, this is how it feels to inhabit my specific skin.
Her like delivery is so great.
So good. And this is also when we start to get this commentary on like this split between like hoity-toity highbrow conceptual art versus like comic book artists.
Yeah,
and,
like what kind of art matters.
Exactly. What kind of art gets grants?
Mm-hmm.
So Roberta tells them that they have to participate in a show at the end of the summer about community and art as dialogue.
So she's pushing them in class to create meaningful work that's saying something. And in doing so, she really connects with a young brown noser who is pretty much just as disingenuous and stupid.
She's a grifter. She's just figured out how to grift this woman.
Yeah, and like completely plays her from the get-go. And Enid is kind of positioned against this, I don't know, I would say like a budding college feminist. She reminded me a lot of girls I was in the women's studies program with at my college. To be fair, I am like every character in this movie.
Same, yeah.
Very like, I believe in this because I'm just regurgitating, and anything that you say, I'll say in a slightly different way, but I'll say it like with a smile and really upbeat. You know, and Thora Birch's Enid is just like, I think that this is dumb. And we know she's the real artist in class too. But right away, because she like brings her sketchbook to show off, the art teacher humiliates her and her work in front of everybody and says it doesn't mean anything and that it's just cartoons.
Yeah. And so first, though, we go to Seymour's garage sale.
Oh, thank you. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm like so obsessed with these art class scenes.
They're so good.
Yeah.
So the girls go to Seymour's garage sale where he's selling records for $1.75. And what do we learn about Seymour in this scene?
That he has a roommate who's equally kind of cheesy and doesn't have a lot going for him. But he also is obsessed with music and he collects records and he is a hardcore collector. Like he's interested in originals. He knows everybody else in the record collecting scene. Again, this is before the internet. So it's like these people they're trying to find what apartment he lives in because they want to like keep tabs on him, right? This is very much like one of motorcycle party going past my door. This is really like one of their schemes, Enid and Rebecca mess around where they're like, let's follow this guy and learn more about him. And they go through everybody in the apartment complex's mail and they find out who he is because they find a letter from the W.C. Fields fan club.
The National Psoriasis Foundation.
Right. And it's like, yeah, you really had to connect with people through the mail and like fanzines. And so, yeah, he's a part of this whole like record collecting society that we see a little bit more of later. But he has very much got that autistic, like, well, this isn't the original 78, but I have the original 78 in my collection. And I know the guy that lent the original 78 to this reissue. And like, very much like me talking about movies when I'm at the video store.
Right.
But Enid likes records. We've seen her listening to records and music, and we know she loves oddities like the Indian dance routine. So she's actually starting to connect to Seymour and like likes him and is interested in buying.
He's cool.
Yeah, is interested in buys a record from him on his recommendation.
So Rebecca and Enid are at the Quality Cafe again. Enid is thinking about Seymour, and they're looking at apartment ads. And one of the ads is like non-smoking feminist and 2 cats.
I know, and I was like, "Oh, is it me?"
And Melora shows up again, and she's like, "Oh, this place is so funky."
Again with like black language, which actually Enid calls out.
They comment on that. Enid's like, what does she think she's black? So Rebecca is scheming. She's thinking of next steps, but Enid wants to play still. She doesn't want to grow up. And she also tells Enid that they have to pretend to be yuppies to get an apartment. So
yeah, which Enid right away is like, ugh, this is stupid.
And she dyes her hair green to challenge Rebecca, and
while listening to the Buzzcocks. This movie is what got me into the Buzzcocks. It was not a band that I was familiar with until I saw this movie, and then I like went out and got like their Singles Going Steady album, and then they became like one of my favorite bands for a long time.
And she looks really good in this like traditional punk look.
I love it. 1977 punk rock look. She's not some modern punk.
So they're walking, and this is the first time we meet the bus guy.
Norman,
who's this older guy who is sitting at a bus stop, but the bus is discontinued, that bus line is discontinued, but he sits there every day waiting for this discontinued bus.
Yeah, and he's like, well, doesn't he say like you'll see, or is that not until another scene?
Well, I think she's like, I don't know if you know this, but this bus line was discontinued, and he's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like a mystery character.
Yeah. So the girls try to go to Josh's apartment and torment him, but he's not there. So they leave a note that's like, we came by to fuck you. but you're not here, so you're gay.
Therefore, you are gay.
You are gay. Yeah.
I was thinking about this when it came out that like the bullets that killed Charlie Kirk were like, you are gay on the shell casings. I just kept thinking about this scene.
And they sign it like Tiffany and
Amber.
Tiffany and Amber, yeah.
Right, which, yeah, hot girl names. But Rebecca doesn't want to leave the note. She thinks that it's too, I don't know. We don't know. She's like, you're going to leave that? It's too childish, maybe too mean. We know she has a crush on Josh. And she's like off-putted by it.
Right. The girls go to a zine store called Xenophobia.
Yep, this is where the shitty guy that Pat Healy plays, we find out this is his store.
Counterculture nightmare male fuel.
Mm-hmm.
With the worst men on earth. And this is who you have to interact with as a woman if you're counterculture.
Mm-hmm. The only way to
Especially
get
at this
flesh off a
time.
corpse is carpet beetles.
And Pat Healy comes in and is like being horrible to Enid, and they have this like conversation about punk, and Enid is like, it's obviously a 1977 original punk look, not some modern punk.
And they don't get it. And then Rebecca's like, I didn't get it either. And Rebecca's mad because they were supposed to look at apartments today, and Enid decided to look even more counterculture, specifically to be off-putting to Rebecca, which is not, you don't get the sense that they do that to each other. It's like it's them against the rest of the world, and this is like one more sort of like nail in their childhood coffin that just keeps coming throughout the film. And so Rebecca's like annoyed too. She hates the message that Enid leaves Josh. She doesn't like going to this store full of assholes. She hates that, Enid looks like this now. So she's like, well, I didn't get it either. And Enid says the most classic
everyone's
line,
too stupid.
Yeah, everyone's too stupid. And it's just, that's just me forever. I'm constantly
I still feel like that.
thinking that, like, people.
Yeah. I never grew out of this.
No, and it's really interesting when I've talked to people who have been like, oh, they're really immature, they're really defensive, they're really wounded. And I'm like, no, they know what's going on. Like, the world's stupid and everybody is like posers and kind of disconnected from like true art and expression because they want to make money or they want to fit in, or they just get tired and they don't care anymore. Like, yeah, all these, Enid's calling out all of that stuff in a way that, I don't know, you get to when you have as much energy as a teenager does.
Right. So Enid is listening to Seymour's record alone in her room, and she connects to it.
And it's interesting here because she's dyeing her hair back to black. She doesn't keep the green, which is crazy because it looks so good.
Oh, I also love when she throws the money at Pat Healy and he's like, oh, how punk. Like, it's a very, very good scene. So,
yeah. Well, again, this shows like that they don't have a lot of power. They don't have power at high school. They're the outcasts there. And now they just graduated. So they're adults in the world, but they're on like the lowest rung of the totem pole in their suburb as like young women who don't have any like money or power yet. So they can be jerks to other people, but it doesn't have any impact at all because nobody cares. She can look tough, but like she can't intimidate these guys that harass her.
No. So Enid connects with this song. It's a blues song. And
Devil
she goes
Got My Woman.
Yeah, Devil Got My Woman. And she goes to see Seymour where he's selling his records at his apartment. And
because they're there every Sunday, which is so funny.
And they connect over it. So now we're back in art class, and this scene kills me. Ileana Douglas is critiquing all of their pieces that they've brought in, and there's this one drawing of like a dude being hit over the head with a hammer, and she's like, what is this? And the kid is like, oh, that's the mutilator. Like, it's like from a video game. And she's like, oh, I thought maybe that was your father.
I know. She's like so excited about it having emotional depth.
Right. Then this is when we like meet this girl who's completely grifted. Roberta, she made this sculpture out of hangers. And she's like, it's about a women's right to choose.
But it's like, it's just hangers all like, mashed together, essentially woven together, but it doesn't, there's nothing to it.
Right. And she is mean about Enid's sketchbook that she brings in. And she's basically like, you know, art can be playful and entertaining like Enid's, or it can be meaningful and belong to this higher category of art.
Yeah, and this is really like Daniel Klaus being like, has clearly gotten this shit his whole life.
Totally. Now we're at the video store, and some really funny commentary here. Like, there's a guy who's trying to rent the Fellini movie 8.5, but the clerk is like, yes, 9.5 weeks. That is in the erotic drama section.
And the guy's like, not 9.5, 8.5. The Fellini film. And I'm like, oh my God, that was me in high school at the Blockbuster where they didn't know A Clockwork Orange, and I had to like explain to them what it was, and then they ultimately were like, oh, we don't have it. Like,
there's also these previews playing for some shitty movie called The Flower That Drank the Moon.
Oh, such a good stupid name. And this is a video store that is clearly a chain video store. It looks like a Hollywood video or a Blockbuster
cool video store. Yeah.
No. And so that, again, commentary on how even the people who work at those stores like are dumb, right? Because typically you see video stores in movies and they're sort of portrayed like the zine store, the comic book shop in this movie, with like a lot of hostile weirdos who know everything. But the fact is that like these mainstream video stores, maybe you had a couple film nerds working there, but that's not really what these mainstream stores wanted. When I was young, I applied to Blockbuster and Movie Gallery and Hollywood Video, and I never got hired at any of them because at each one of them you had to take one of those industrial psychology tests that's like 100 questions, you know, and it's like, if you get mad, do you ever kick somebody? It was always like,
yes.
Yeah, like but it was like the same questions a bunch of different times, you know, like if you knew one of your coworkers was stealing, would you confront them, or would you tell management? Would you not say anything? And I'm like, I don't know, man. So it's a good commentary on like how everybody at these stores is also really stupid.
Mm-hmm. So now we're at the record party at Seymour's apartment because Rebecca's like, let's do something tonight. And Enid's like, I know something we could do.
Right? Because she's
her to the worst party ever.
She's like, I know a party we can go to. And she knows she's sticking her over and that Rebecca wouldn't want to go. And Rebecca says it's my last weekend of freedom, right? So along with looking for the apartments, Rebecca's been talking about how they need to get jobs because they have to pay for these apartments. And Rebecca got a job, you know, and the film's been following Enid. So we don't see Rebecca like making good on everything she says she's going to do. We just see it through Enid's eyes. And Enid's supposed to have a job by now, too. She said that she's going to do it, and she has not made any effort at all. So, yeah, she tells Rebecca they can go to this cursed party, and it's a record party, and we get to see who all of Seymour's acquaintances in this interest group are.
The most autistic, nerdy white men on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And my commentary here in my notes is, this is a room full of my clients.
Yeah, this is a room full of my video store customers.
And David Cross is in this scene, and he is referring to Enid and Rebecca, and he's like, who are the two cheerleaders?
Which is just so funny because it's like, wow, you've seen young women for the first time.
Right. And David Cross tries to hit on Rebecca, and Enid like leaves her. And I would never do this. But
no, this is mean.
Yeah, when Enid leaves her with David Cross, leaves her to the wolves. and goes to talk to Seymour, and then Seymour shows her his record room. And it's full of records and paraphernalia.
Vintage movie posters.
And Enid is like, this is like my dream room. I would kill to have stuff like this. And Seymour says, please, go ahead and kill me.
It's like, I think that's my favorite line in the whole movie. I'm like...
Well, I also love the line when he's like, I hate my interests.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's just so... that feeling of like, you're so much yourself and you can't get away from it. And it's a good thing, but it also is separating you from everyone else. And
Right.
I think Enid likes being separated from everyone else, but I think there's something here to Seymour where he can't act like anybody else, but I think he wishes he could. I think he wants to blend in because his life has like, his rigidness has like led to a lot of loneliness. And while Enid, also feels lonely and they have a connection in that way, I think she like enjoys like her personality, I guess, at least at this point in her life. Like she likes what she's doing. She doesn't wish she was different in a way that maybe Rebecca also wishes she was different.
I mean, I still feel like Enid, where I'm like happy that I'm different and I'm like into my stuff and I think what I like is cool, but I'm friends with men like this who are just like, I hate my interests. And so, I mean, I think this is, the difference also between being like a deeply nerdy man versus like being a hot bitch.
I was gonna say like a high femme queer woman. It's like you just get... We're also interested in girly stuff that we live in a society that like hates that, but also prizes that. So
and also, I mean, nerd men are not as sexualized as nerd women. So there's like there is one point where Seymour says something like, you can still fit in with people. Like I can't, because, and the implication is there, like she can still fit in because she's hot. Like it, and this is like nerd counterculture guys kind of like issue with nerd women
totally
throughout time. So Enid takes this interest in finding Seymour a date, which and she says, by the end of the summer you're gonna be neck deep in pussy, and he's like, Jesus.
So funny. He gets like scandalized really easily.
And
which I would also love. Like, if I love scandalizing people. I like when I'm around men who are just shocked about the way that I talk. I think it's really funny.
It's very funny. And this is, I don't know, I kind of see this as like her sort of roundabout way of flirting, but maybe I'm just gross.
Enid hasn't really been interested in anybody, right? Like she's interested in Josh, but she is not really connecting with Josh intellectually. He's more just like a fun sort of loser like they are. But I think this is the first time Enid sees herself in someone of the opposite sex, and she's like intrigued by it.
So she is hanging out with Seymour and she introduces him to Josh, and Josh is shocked and drops an ice cream that he's
only
getting for a
knows
customer.
Seymour. Yeah, I love this. Little girl starts crying, but he only he doesn't know what they've been doing because they don't hang out with Josh. They just kind of tease him at work. So like she brings him into the Sidewinder, and he just remembers Seymour as the guy that they prank called and made come into Wowsville, that they all felt terrible about. So now here they are hanging out together, and it's like really disturbs Josh.
And they leave, and Seymour is like, so is that your boyfriend? Or, like Seymour is
Josh
obviously
is nobody's boyfriend. I love that line.
Yeah. And Seymour is obviously, interested in Enid. So
They turn the
She
corner and they come across the most beautifully
Anthony's.
styled adult video store.
And she makes Seymour take her into Anthony's.
And he
this
puts up a
adult
big
store.
fight because he's like,
Yeah.
this is creepy. Really great signs outside of Anthony's that were made for the movie. And Terry Zwigoff still has those.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
They're I love Anthony's. I love the styling of Anthony's.
Yeah, it's
They
like
go
have an
in and-
XXX day is like one of the signs on the outside, which I'm like, oh my God, I need this. I need to commission an artist to remake those signs so that I can have them.
That's perfect. So there's all these like male customers in there, and Enid's like, look at all these creeps. And she's like making all of them uncomfortable. One of the creeps is an uncredited Will Forte.
Yeah, really great close up on his face. Did you ever go to these types of, truck stop adult stores like close to turning 18, like as something to do to kill time?
Absolutely. And I was definitely like this. It was like,
Yes.
look at all these weird guys.
Yeah. So my friends and I love to do this. There was, a couple nearby and outskirts of Cleveland that we would go to. And I remember one, it was like my 3 best girlfriends and our best gay guy friend. And we went in and we just terrorized the place, looking at everything, laughing at everything. And I remember it was the first time I saw one of those dildos that was just like a big fist and an arm. And it was like human, like exact size. And my friend like picked it up and chased me around with it. And there are just like adult men like trying to
like
get
genuinely trying to buy dildos. Yeah.
And there was one near our college too called the Airport Highway Lion's Den. And we're like, let's go to I know. Let's go to the Airport Highway Lion's Den. And I have actual photographs that I took with like a point and shoot camera of my friends and I hanging out in there. Because that one had a cat and the cat would like lay across like all of the tapes. And so I think I have to find it. I'll send it to you if I can find it. But it's like this picture of a cat laying across like videotapes and the spines had like dicks on them. And we were like, oh, pussy and dicks,
My best friend in high school, who was also counterculture nerd girl, shout out to Julia. Hi, Julia. Almost got arrested for shoplifting a dildo from Spencer's.
I love that. Hell yeah, Julia.
So good. So good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we never bought anything. We just looked at everything and made fun of everybody. So I love this scene because I'm like, this is such a part of being 18 and being like a horn dog and a weirdo yourself, but not knowing how to like process it.
Not being self-actualized in it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
So Enid goes to visit Rebecca at work, where she's working at like kind of a Starbucks-esque place. And there's this weird guy in a wheelchair who's like obsessed with the trivia.
Crispin Glover's dad.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And he's like obsessed with the trivia questions of the day, but he like looks it up on his computer.
Yeah, he has like early internet access.
Yeah.
Because like what a cool thing that you could get a free coffee if you knew a trivia question. But that's very like pre-internet, right? Like you couldn't do that now. And he's showing how that kind of stuff would get ruined by assholes. Like it's a side character, but it's this other moment of people taking advantage of like how things could be. Like you're supposed to guess. You're supposed to just know it off the top of your head. And if you don't, you don't get a free coffee, but you're gaming the system. Or it's like another grifter making society worse.
Well, that's a really good point. That's a good observation. So Rebecca says like, you get sick of all the creeps, losers, and weirdos. And Enid is like, but those are our people. And Rebecca's like, no, well, and you said here, like the bloom is coming off the rose.
Yeah, because like this is what happens to you when you go from just being a fancy free teenager and getting to know the world through your own like lens. And then when you actually have to start working with these people, like all of a sudden weirdos, you are dealing with them. Their weirdness isn't interesting. They're annoying. Like little curiosities are now like, that's the person who's complaining to you about their, like, you didn't ring up one of their 15 coupons that they had for bottled water. And it's like, that's funny to watch on the outside, to have somebody fumbling with 15 coupons for water. But then when you're the clerk and you have to put up with that and they're like yelling and freaking out, it doesn't stay funny for very long. It like eats away at you. It annoys you. You hate these people. You just want people to be normal when you deal with them. So it's really interesting, this comparison of like Enid, again, she's getting further and further away from Rebecca as Rebecca's moving towards adulthood, and Enid's trying to keep this little bubble around their childhood. I mean, she shows up in this really great latex, Batman mask.
Yes. Yeah. We didn't even mention that. Yeah.
And like that she made Seymour buy her at Anthony's. And when she reveals that she got it at Anthony's, Rebecca's betrayed because it's something that they wanted to do together. And Enid saw an opportunity to do it and she just did it. And she was undervaluing like what that connective plan meant for her and Rebecca's friendship. And Rebecca doesn't get to go. Why? Because Rebecca's at work.
Rebecca's doing the things.
And you miss out on things. I mean, this is so much what it's like being a teenager if you get a job before your friends get jobs, because they all just
I was that person.
Yep.
I had a job starting at 14.
I started babysitting at 12, and then I started working at my first like not under the table job. And then I also would mow people's lawns.
Oh my God.
So I did a lot
butch.
of, yeah, I know, right? I was both. I was daddy and mommy. Babysitting kids, I mow the lawn. But then at 16, I got a job at Walgreens, in addition to babysitting. And
I was the photo girl at an Eckerd.
whoa, I'd learned how to do the photo stuff, but there was an adult woman whose job that was at my Walgreens, and all I could do was fill in.
I don't know why
for
they
her.
put a 15-year-old in charge of that, but yeah,
It's
I was the photo girl. Yeah.
I loved seeing people's photos. It was so cool.
Oh, it was amazing.
But yeah, I could only do it
I'll
when the
never
one woman
forget
was
this
off.
like series of photos I did that was just like an old woman with like giant gray like bouffant hair in a bathtub.
Whoa.
Like with like a glass of champagne. I was like this icon.
Yeah, you're like, I'll take one photo for me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Enid has an encounter with Maxine, her dad's ex, who seems like a nasty nice person.
Yeah, it's just bad hair, bad glasses, bad clothes. Like, she's corny. She's a nerd. She's like represents everything that sucks about adulthood to Enid.
Mm-hmm. Enid is in art class and she's showing her piece, and it's a drawing of Don Knotts. And Roberta.
And it's good.
And it's good. And Roberta, the teacher's like, what does this mean? And Enid is like, I like Don Knotts.
Right. And if the teacher was a better teacher, she could talk, because it's like, yeah, art does have meaning. You can find meaning in anything that's been created with human hands. And like, if she was a better teacher, she could talk about how passion has meaning to it and obsession has meaning to it. That meaning isn't just limited to political and social stances, right? But she's not a good art teacher. But you have to wonder, because she's clearly passionate, you see what she's had to do to get these embarrassing grants to do her own work. And I see people all the time make work to get certain grants or to get into certain programs. And it's like, at what point in your artist trajectory are you making work that will appeal to other people so that you can keep making work? Right. So I have to wonder if like Roberta was always like this, or if she has been sort of, I don't know, her edges have been sanded down because this is what she was told she has to do to have success. And now she's bought into it.
There was also a time when this kind of postmodern feminist art was not taken seriously.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
So there's it's layered, right?
It is layered.
She's had to probably fight to be taken seriously
Mm-hmm.
as an artist, and it's made her lose touch with other modalities.
Yeah, that's such a great point. I love that you said that.
Yeah, because if you're thinking about like art history, like when Duchamp made the ready-made urinal, like that was extremely controversial. Like that, that was not considered high art. It's only now considered high art. And these feminist artists that were working in the 70s had to fight really hard to be taken seriously for their conceptual art. So there's commentary on that here as well, I feel like. The brown noser girl brings a tampon in a teacup and
Found art object.
right. And Roberta is like, I think it's a brilliant piece. And it's so obviously like not it's so obviously just to appeal to her. We're at the Quality Cafe, and Enid and Rebecca are talking, and Enid is like, I'm sexually frustrated, and Rebecca's like, you haven't heard of the miracle of masturbation. And Rebecca's like checking out this like blonde guy, and Enid's like, he's an idiot. And then he walks by and he's like, you guys listen to reggae? And Enid's like, see? Like
and Rebecca has to hand it to her. She's like, okay, yeah.
But then this like artsy guy comes to hit on Rebecca and invite her to his show from his band Alien Autopsy. And of course, and then Enid addresses how guys always like her and not Enid. And eternal. Like that's always
yeah, because
how it is.
Rebecca's passing. She's alternative, but like she can look like a nice girl you would take home to, Mom. And
yeah, these guys are secretly posers.
Yeah, these guys are alternative, but they really just want the girl that they normally can't get.
Yeah, I always, growing up liked alternative guys. And I did have punk alternative boyfriends growing up, but most often they were interested in normie looking girls or like more indie Zooey Deschanel sort of looking girls. And this was always a tension between me and my friends that looked like that. It's that these guys were more interested in them than they were in me. And it's still like that, even as adults.
Absolutely. Well, anybody that like their look can go away if they just go home and do their hair and makeup differently. They haven't really like committed to anything.
Right. So Seymour and Enid are in the car because they're going to see this band called Blues Hammer. And
this is where I'm the most Seymour.
Yes, please talk about it.
Well, it immediately opens with the radio being like, you're listening to K98 Extreme Radio. And Seymour's like, oh my God, why does his voice have to be so shrill? And he's like complaining, and Enid just like turns it down and is like, it's fine, right? Because you have endless patience when you're a young person. But like the older and more like entrenched that you get in like society and your own specific world, like the more these things just become more grating and more grating. And like, I am Seymour. I cannot handle a shrill voice. Like when I'm at the video store, because we have a movie always playing, but we also have a jukebox in like right near the front door that sometimes people will start playing. And so then we have a jukebox music going, and then we have the TV music going, and we also have a pinball machine that people will be playing. And I have to hold back my Seymour. Like I will freak out. I really hate that much noise going on at once. Also, it could just be autism for both of us. but it's yeah, he's losing his mind, and then he can't drive because these people are walking so slow in front of the car through the crosswalk.
He's like, have some more kids, why don't you?
Are you moving in slow motion? What are you, hypnotized? That's me everywhere I go. We all need to work together as a society to move forward. There wouldn't actually be traffic if people could just fucking drive. So... I am regularly
we
having
always
road
talk
rage.
about how this is you. They go to this bar, and Seymour tries to hit on this woman, and
this is so tragic.
She's like an idiot, and
if you love authentic blues, you're really gonna love Blues Hammer.
And then Blues Hammer comes on after an actual black blues artist.
And that no one's paying attention to.
Yes.
And Seymour calls out how people are all watching sports because they're at a sports bar. And he's this like legitimate icon of like the period is playing. And no one's paying attention because everybody's there for Blues Hammer.
And Blues Hammer comes on, and it's white guys.
It's all Mark McGrath looking motherfuckers.
Yes. And they do this song where they're like, picking cotton all day long.
Yeah, like truly does like a voice.
Yeah.
I'm plowing.
It's so bad and such brilliant parody.
Mhm.
And again,
And everyone
dealing
loves
with race. Yes, dealing
Everyone's
with race and
dancing.
appropriation.
it. All the guys in
because
the
they
band are
were
white. All the people in the audience are white. Like the only black guy that we saw in the scene is the actual like blues artist from like the mid-century.
right, and
That
of
Seymour's
course,
there to
like
see.
Seymour, as like kind of an intellectual white dork, is appreciative of the actual blues artist. And he is surrounded by idiots.
And they're
And
spilling their beer on him and they're edging him out of his chair. He can't even sit down and watch Blues Hammer, even if he wanted to. Like this woman
so
starts ignoring him to like
right,
dance and
this
like
terrible dance.
oh
Yeah.
God. And he's just like out of place immediately. Like I really relate to this too, where it's like I'm gonna go here to experience this thing, but everyone else is here is like insufferable, and I'm being like beset by losers at the thing that I'm interested in. Why are all these people here ruining my thing? Like I feel like this happens a lot of times when I go to see movies, like at the New Bev. And it's like a bunch of
Yes.
horrible old white Gen Xer men in like battle vests snarkily laughing at John Cassavetes saying the word bitch in Rosemary's
Literally
Baby.
every time we go to a movie and somebody says the
Some
word
man
bitch,
calls a woman a
some man is
bitch.
like, and
Yeah,
we're like, what's funny?
yeah, that's not funny actually.
This happens to us every time we go to the movies. I
Mhm.
feel like.
That's why I'm like, there's not with you obviously, but it's like I go to things and I'm like, am I the only person who genuinely likes this stuff? It feels like everybody is just treating the stuff that I'm actually passionate about as like eccentric curiosities. like this is just
Poser
funny.
violence.
It's funny to
Yeah.
like this. And I'm like, oh cool, so all this stuff I'm genuinely
It's funny
passionate
because it's
about.
old.
Yeah.
Like that's the way people are. Yeah.
Everything is
So
irony. It's like, yeah, that's why I get into my car and I scream at everybody because I'm like losing my mind. I'm being Joker-fied at every turn.
So Seymour talks to Enid afterwards, and he's like, I can't relate to 99% of humanity. You give them a Big Mac and a pair of Nikes, and they're happy. This is very much us. And he, this is when he says to Enid, like, well, you can still be part of humanity.
Yeah, 'cause she's like, I don't relate to humanity either, but I don't think it's completely hopeless. And he's like, it's not hopeless for you. You're a beautiful young girl.
Right. World's tiniest violin for Seymour, but at the same time, like, I do get it. Like, there is privilege in being desirable.
Yeah. Seymour's not making an effort, but sometimes you can't. Like, sometimes you're trapped in your personality.
Okay, so this is when we get the cook's chicken scene.
Yeah, she's hanging out with him at his apartment.
Yes. So she's looking through his posters and she sees this one giant piece of art, which is like a minstrel parody. A black person in looking like a minstrel. And she finds out that this is the old logo for a fast food chain called Cook's Chicken.
Yeah, and it's written actually like on the teeth of this caricature. It says Coon Chicken Inn. And
yes,
she's like,
so
what is this? Are you a Klansman?
Yeah. Right. She's like, why the fuck do you have this?
Yeah.
And
she acknowledges it as racist. It's like very clearly racist.
Yes. And he shows her this scrapbook he has of the evolution from Coon Chicken to Cook's Chicken. And it used to use this minstrel parody of a black person, and it evolved into a white man, and then in the 90s evolves into a white woman. With a brilliant commentary, right?
And they're showing like, actual photographs, different menus, different, basically like ephemera of this illustration evolution. And just an interesting note here is everything in this scrapbook was drawn and designed by Danny Klaus.
Oh, wow.
So this is all his work, which I think is really bold and interesting.
Yeah, so it's about how this racist history of this restaurant has been covered up. We find out that Seymour works for Cook's Chicken. He's worked there for 20 years.
Well,
And
because he's like, because Enid like can't believe it. She's like, why don't more people know about this? She's shocked that this like fast food chain has this overtly racist history, which is something that you learn as you get older, is that like a lot of corporations are grounded in oppressive structures, most often racism towards Black people, and like he said, I was a lot more interested in this phenomenon when I was your age. I stopped being as interested when I started working for them, which is shocking after like this scene. And it's this other, Enid's not let down by Seymour ever really, but there is this other moment where it's like, God, no adult in this movie has a backbone. Like that feeling of like, yeah, when you're a teen, you're so interested. I mean, how many people, that you grew up with in your subculture have now gone on to, one of my best friends is married to a cop now. And we used to like do drugs together and, go to anti-flag shows and shit. And like, yeah, she has like a new build out in the country, married to a cop, has dogs she bought from a breeder. Like, it's just like, what? Like, people just decide at some point that they're more interested in like comfort than the thing that they actually cared about or believed in. And I think it's really interesting that, as fascinating as Seymour is and how he does, he is involved a little bit in counterculture, he also sold out.
Right.
Like, why does he work for this company that he thought was full of shit for so long?
Right. And he says, people still hate each other. They just know how to hide it better.
Mm-hmm.
So Enid takes the original Cook's Chicken art and brings it to art class as a found object. And
she's like, I'm going to win this round.
Right. And Roberta sort of questions her about why she brought this. And she, says the right thing. It's about how racism is still here, but it's covered up. And Roberta says, I don't know what to say, Enid. I think it's a remarkable achievement.
Very good impersonation.
Yeah. And you said that she beats the insincere brown noser who you said would be a woke scold now.
Yes. Yeah, you can totally tell that she's a libtard because she like just wants to be good. She just wants to be right. She doesn't care about anything. And she's just frustrated because the camera pans to her and Enid gives her like a little like knowing smile, and the other girl's like, and it's like, okay, well, if you really cared or you were interested in this stuff, you would want to have a discussion about it. But I think she just says that it's really offensive. And this is also like one of the few times that we hear a Black character or we see a Black character.
Yeah. And one like Black characters like, it's just wrong.
Yeah. Just one of the Black characters in class gets to have a line, but it doesn't really become a discussion, which again, and like Roberta is just so excited that it's taboo, I think, that she doesn't like, really engage in a real conversation.
Right. Has Enid really learned anything? Is Enid, as a white artist, is she the person who should be making this statement? Like, is it successful as an art piece? Like, it's just because it's shocking that Roberta thinks it's good.
Yes. And Enid, it's interesting. She's trying to sort of regurgitate what her and Seymour were talking about the night before, but she can't quite do it.
Right.
And she says, like, when we see images like this, we think that they're shocking and we have to ask ourselves why it's so shocking. But there's no further, and it's like, okay, well, why is it so shocking? Roberta doesn't press her. Then the students aren't encouraged to talk about it beyond like, I think it's wrong, I think it's right. It's very shallow. And the thing is, it is interesting, but nobody is actually willing to like have much of the discussion. And even Seymour has given up on it being interesting. He just kind of kept it. And it's sort of, he didn't even remember he had it. He just still has it because it's sort of like reminiscent of a time where he was interested in stuff. But as we said earlier, these characters don't have to be interested in this type of racism because it doesn't ultimately affect them. It can be just like a passing fancy for them on their journey through like liberal whiteness.
To listen to the rest of this discussion, sign up on patreon.com/girlsgutsgiallo at the $10 Woman on the Warpath and Up tiers. Just a reminder that you get nearly 7 years of bonus content if you just give me 8, 10, 15, or 20 if you're feeling generous, dollars a month. Okay, see you on Patreon.